There was maybe 20, 25 faithful kids, but there really wasn't much more than that. There was no outreaches. We weren't really challenged enough to reach our friends or reach the lost and do stuff in our community. Pastor Megan and Oscar, they challenged us. If we wanted the 7 Project to come, we'd have to double it, and we did that.
We're praying a lot just for God to move and just to see breakthrough in our friends and in our youth group, and even in our own lives. There's just a lot of prayer for God to just do something.
I was just praying for a bunch of students at my school that they would all get saved, because there's only like 7 students in high school that are Christians, or that at least live up to it.
We went to our schools to just pray for our schools, just to pray for God to move in them, and that as the kids would walk down the halls, that they would just feel God's presence.
I just started crying, weeping that all these students would be saved in my school and come to my youth group for it. So since that day on, I kept calling people and asking them to come to my youth group.
There's one kid that started at a new school his freshman year, and he decided to get the numbers of all the people he could in his freshman class, and he got numbers of tons of kids, and then he went home, and on that Tuesday night before church, he called and invited like 25 kids to youth group that night.
I was really scared that nobody was going to come at all, and I was just going to make a fool of myself trying to do this. But I didn't care. I just went ahead and did it because I knew that God was watching me, and He died on the cross, shed His blood, and all of that stuff just for me, and I figured He needs a little bit more than just what we have here.
When the 7 Project Week came, we did pretty much everything we could think of to just get the word out.
This guy, his locker's right next to mine, and every day he'd ask me, could you come to youth group, could you come to youth group?
I heard about the 7 Project from a lot of people from youth group.
We were wearing shirts that had 7 on it, and there were flyers all over the floor.
If we didn't care about our friends before the 7 Project came, we weren't going to care about them afterwards either.
The week before 7, we actually had around 120 kids come, which was really amazing.
Is Christianity just something that you do? Just something that on your weekly list, or is it something that you are? Because the only Jesus that some people are ever going to know is you. The only Christ they're ever going to encounter is the Christ in you. People can argue with science, they can argue with theology, they can argue with pastors, they can't argue with your testimony because it's your story.
In a crowd like this is made up of individuals. And sometimes crowds are the loneliest places. And I'm going to tell you straight up, man, every one of you has a story.
I kept praying for my sister, because she's obviously close to me, and I want her to be in heaven when I go. Just like 2 weeks before 7 Project, she actually came to my youth group, and then she actually rededicated her life to Christ, and I was so happy because I've been praying forever.
The Father delights to show mercy, and friends, you got to know that, because you don't want to run life alone. It's amazing what a father will do when he loves his children. And it's amazing what the Father did because he loves us. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that anyone who believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. In just a moment, I'm going to give you an opportunity to make the most important decision of your life. This decision, this commitment, will literally determine where you spend eternity. I'm not asking you, friends, are you a good person? And I'm not even asking you, are you sorry for your sin? I'm asking you, are you sorry enough to change?
He died on the cross, shed his blood, and all of that stuff just for me.
I remember the spot, and I remember the day, and I was so happy to have Jesus in my life.
Yeah, a lot of people have been praying for me, and I've seen some changes in my life.
God demonstrated his love, that while you were a sinner, Christ died for you. God knows everything about you, and he still chose to send Jesus to die for you. If you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and you believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you'll be saved. Jesus paid the price so that you could have life, life more abundantly.